Hello students, good morning all of you. I hope you are doing well in this situation. So now myself Professor PC Dhanavade and I'm going to teach you a subject analog circuits and design 1. For the whole semester you will be with me along with the subject ACD 1. See, in this semester you have this ACD 1. See, part 1 of ACD is there in this semester. In next semester, again you will have a subject analog circuits and design 2. So total circuit theory is divided into two parts. One part you will learn in first semester, that is in this semester, and second part will be there for next semester. So this is course name analog circuits and design 1. Right? As we are in autonomous structure, the subject name is what our course name. Right? Course means your subject, and the department, that is electronics and telecommunication, is what your program. So your course name is your subject name and your program is your department. So you belongs to a program electronics and telecommunication. Right? So let us come to the point. In this semester we have ACD1, that is short form, and the course code is ETL 202. So for this subject, in 1 week you have 4 lectures. Look at this, we have written lectures 4 hours per week. It means in 1 week I will have 4 lectures on your class, and total credits for this subject is 4. Total number of credits are 4. See, this is a theory subject, so that's why it is ETL. L stands for lectures. Is it? Now, along with this theory subject, you have a practical subject associated with this ACD1. So, if it is a practical subject, the course code for that subject will be different. That will be ETP. Right? The practical session for this ACD1, you will have ETP and the code is 207. Right? So ACD1 lectures has course code ETL 202, whereas ACD1 practical has course code of ETP 207. There also you will have 2 hours practical per week. See, your whole class is divided into 4 batches. Hence, one batch will perform a practical for ACD1 once in a week. So, practical hours are 2. So, your batch will come for ACD1 practical for 2 hours in a week. Is it? It is there in next page. See, I have written it. ETP 207. This is analog circuit and design 1 lab. It is for practical, and for practical it is 2 hours per week, and for practical it has a credit of 1. Is it? So first we will discuss about theory subject. Is it? That is with course code ETL 202. Now, as this course we are going to study in the whole semester. Now when we finish with this course, that is ACD1, after completion of this course, what you will be able to, is it, what you understood, what is your gain, what you will be able to, is what outcomes of that course. Understood? So when you study ACD1 for the complete semester, then what you have studied and what you can do, what you will be able to do after this, after completion of the subject, is what outcomes. So let us discuss those outcomes first. Look at this, I have written course outcomes. Outcome means after completion of this course, see, the first outcome I have written is to construct and develop unregulated and regulated DC power supplies. It means when you finish with this course, you will be able to develop unregulated as well as regulated DC power supplies. Right? You will be able to analyze, design, and develop a complete power supply system. This is what your first outcome. Right? Now, second, after completion of this ACD1 course, see the second statement, you will be able to analyze DC circuits. It means you will be able to analyze all DC circuits because the part of analysis is included in the subject, and then after that you will be able to model those, or AC models are also included. It means AC analysis and DC analysis both are included in the subject, so that's why you will be able to analyze them with their DC models as well as AC models. Is it? For the time being, don't think about what is DC model of a circuit and what is AC model of the circuit. Was as time goes on, when we start with the third and fourth chapter, you will be able to understand what is that AC analysis or AC model, or what is the DC analysis and DC model. Is it? So for all the circuits, you will be able to model them. The third outcome, the third gain of your, you will be able to develop, look at this, develop, design in signal amplifiers using BJT and FET. Is it? Now you have a background of basic electronics. You have studied this basic electronics in previous year, that is in first year. So you know what is BJT and FET. So if we are aware with BJT and FET in first year, now in second year what we will do, we will design amplifiers using BJT and FET. See, we are going to study amplifiers using BJT and FET. It means we will be able to analyze and design those amplifiers using BJT as well as FET. To design amplifier, we have two options. Either I can go for use of BJT and I can go for use of FET. So both the components are very much useful for designing of an amplifier. So that's why you will be able to design and develop all amplifier circuits using BJT as well as FET. That's what your third gain. Now the fourth one is related to again analysis of, or analysis with respect to frequency. Now look at this. Fourth is evaluate frequency response to understand behavior of electronic circuit. To understand behavior of any electronic circuit, we have to understand its frequency response, how this circuit behaves for different frequencies. That's what we have to understand, and that's why this frequency response chapter is included in your course. Okay. So when you study this frequency response chapter, you will be able to find out the frequency response of electronic circuits, isn't it? And by frequency response you will understand so many things, like what is the gain, or what is the bandwidth of, if it is an amplifier, what is the bandwidth of the circuit, and so on. Is it? You will understand the things as we go on studying fourth and fifth chapter. Is it? So those are the four outcomes of the course. It means you will be able to do all those things. Now let's get into the chapter. Actually, as a first unit, you will face the unregulated power supply. Is it? Unregulated power supply means a DC power supply, but which is not regulated. Under this you will study rectifier. Look at this. You will study rectifiers as well as filters. Is it? Rectifier and filters gives us a conversion from AC voltage to pulsating DC voltage. Don't even think what is pulsating DC. As we start the chapter unregulated power supply, you will be clear about that pulsating DC concept. Is it? So in this chapter your knowledge will be restricted to AC to pulsating DC. is it? Now what to do with this pulsating DC, or how to convert this pulsating DC into pure DC, is what your next chapter, that is regulated power supply. Here you will understand the concept of regulation. Is it? Pulsating DC is a fluctuating DC. It is not constant with respect to few parameters. So if I change some parameters, this output voltage changes. So this change in output voltage is not desired, because what we want, if we are designing a DC power supply, then the DC voltage should be constant. Is it? So how to make that DC voltage constant or stable, that you will learn in a regulated power supply. And these two chapters are fully related to power supply. So after completion of this two chapters, you will be able to design and develop a full-fledged power supply. Is it? And for first chapter, total hours are 8. It means within those 8 hours we have to finish this chapter, and for the second also we have 8 hours. So those first two chapters are related to design, analysis and development of DC power supply. Now come to the next chapter, that is third one. The third chapter is related to BJT. You have studied this BJT in your first year also, but still intentionally as a revision part, I have included this overview. Look at this. I have included this overview of BJT. Right? It is a kind of revision, that whatever you have studied in first year, we will revise that including physical structure of BJT, the actually BJT currents, or 3 configurations of BJT, that is common emitter, common base and common collector. Is it? It was a part of your first year engineering, but as a revision we are going to discuss this again in this chapter. And when we finish with this overview of BJT, then actually we can start with what is biasing. It means if I want to use BJT in amplifier, or if you want to design amplifier using BJT, then first I have to bias that BJT. I have to prepare a BJT so that I can use it in amplifier. Is it? So that biasing is included in this part, that is a BJT biasing. Is it? Even the name, it is given as BJT biasing. Overview will be there as a revision, and after that we'll start with actual BJT. We are preparing BJT to use it in amplifier circuit. And in this chapter, as if we are preparing BJT to use it in amplifiers, the next chapter shows actual analysis, design and development of BJT. So the next chapter, that is fourth one, this one, it is related to BJT amplifiers. So that's why the name of the chapter is clearly written as BJT voltage amplifier. Look at this, BJT voltage amplifiers. Now in this chapter you will be studying a BJT, its analysis, and then designing of the BJT. That is the most important part. So as if we are starting with BJT voltage amplifiers, first we have to start with its analysis. So analyzing BJT, we have many options. We have many modules. With the help of those modules, I can analyze the BJT amplifier. So one module which is included in the syllabus is H parameters. Is it? Or I can say hybrid module. Look at this hybrid module. It is a method. It is a module. With the help of that, we will be able to analyze BJT amplifiers. Is it? So how to analyze a voltage amplifiers, a BJT voltage amplifiers, by using H module, that is included in this chapter. Is it? So again, if it is hybrid module, then practically if hybrid module is not working, then we need to switch for approximate H module, and that approximate H module study is also included here. Look at this, approximate H parameter model. So this is useful at the time of practical. So whatever theoretical things are there with the BJT amplifier or with the H module, all are not useful practically. So practically some things are not feasible, is it? So to go for a practical with BJT amplifiers, compulsorily I have to use approximate model, is it? Now why this approximate model is useful, you will learn when we start with voltage amplifiers. The next chapter is related to frequency response, is it? So in previous chapter what we started analyzing and designing voltage amplifiers, and now in this chapter whatever amplifier we have designed, then this designed amplifier by us, the designed amplifier by us, that amplifier, how it gives a response to different frequencies. For example, if frequency is lower, how this amplifier behaves. If I increase frequency, then what will be the behavior? And then if I increase the frequency further, then again whether behavior of the amplifier changes. That observations, that study is included in the 5th chapter. Look at this, that is amplifiers frequency response. So this is your frequency response of an amplifier. The amplifier behaves differently for different frequencies, is it? That part is included in this chapter. So it means these 3 chapters, that is chapter 3, 4 and 5, are completely related to amplifiers. And what about first 2 chapters? See, these first 2 chapters are thoroughly related to power supplies. I will write short form as PS. Look at this, first 2 chapters, power supply. Why power supply? Why power supply is included as first 2 chapters? Because in second year you will face mini project, is it? Even in third year you will have a small mini project. You have a mini project in every semester, is it? So every electronic circuit need a DC supply. If it needs a DC supply, then you must be able to design and develop your own DC supply. That's what the motto. So that's why first 2 chapters are related to power supply completely. Now these 3, 4 and 5, these 3 chapters are related to amplifier study completely. And then the next, that is 6th chapter, this one, the 6th chapter, look at the name of the chapter. It is Introduction to FET and MOSFET. So first 3, 4, 5 chapters are related to BJT. Now leave the BJT, come into the world, or we are entering into the world of FET and MOSFET, is it? Those are some powerful transistors, is it? Apart from BJT, those FET and MOSFET give more voltage gain or maybe some other parameters. So it is how it is good from BJT that we are going to discuss in this chapter. So that's why we will start from the scratch of FET, is it? So the total chapter, that is Introduction to FET and MOSFET, is divided into 2 parts. In first part there is a study related to FET, and in the second part there is a study related to MOSFET, is it? So everything about FET is included in the first part, and everything about MOSFET is included in the second part. As like BJT, we are going to discuss FET and MOSFET in this chapter. The amplifier using FET, then construction and the types and the difference is going about MOSFET, we are going to discuss in second part. That now this is all about the syllabus. Total 6 chapters are there in ETL 202. Now after this we will turn towards the evaluation scheme. Evaluation scheme means your examination scheme instead. So this subject hold a weightage of 100 marks. See, strictly I'm talking about ETL. ETL 202, that is ACD1. ACD1 theory, I will write theory. So that ACD1 theory, look at the examination scheme. SE1 is for 25 marks, again SE2 for 25 marks. It means in the whole semester, you have to face 2 semester exams. Is it? Semester exams are of 25 marks each. So one semester exam is of 25 marks and first semester exam is declared about in August or September something. Is it? In February or in March you will go, you are going to face SE2. Is it? So these two exams hold 25 marks each. Now this 25 plus 25, it means they contribute total 50 marks in your exam. See, their contribution is of 50 marks. And then finally SEE, or I can say semester end exam. This is what your final theory exam. Is it? Final theory exam, and it holds 50 marks. So this 50 plus this 50 will be of 100. So you are going to face this ACD1 for 100 marks. Now about this semester end examination, there will be paper of 100 marks. You have to face paper of 100 marks. A question paper is of 100 marks. At the time of evaluation, these 100 marks will be converted into 50 marks. Converted into 50 marks. And that's why it is written SEE is of 15 marks. Is that? So as per your first year, we have a same structure here in your second year. That is, final theory exam will be of 50 marks, but you have to sit and appear for 100 marks theory paper. Is it? At the time of evaluation, we are going to convert this 100 marks to 15 marks. For example, if you got 80 marks out of 100, if you got 80 marks, then after conversion it becomes 40. Is it? Just divided by 2. That's what it is. And this is evaluation scheme for this ACD1. Now for this whole syllabus, that is for 6 chapters, which book that you need to refer is the next part. Then look at this. I have a list of books. The first book that I'm telling you to refer is Electronic Devices and Circuits. Electronic Devices and Circuits. Look at this. I'm writing first as Electronic Devices and Circuits. Is it? The publisher is Prentice Hall. It's a 4th edition, especially I am mentioning, and the author is David Bell. Sufficient copies of that book are available in our library. Even if you check our department library, then also so many copies are available. Is it? Now the second book that I'm telling you is this. Again, the name is same, Electronic Devices and Circuits, but the author is different. That is Salivanan. It is really a good book. Is it? It is really a good book. The third one, this one. So this is the most common and the only book. Generally every year I suggest my students to purchase one copy of that book. It is useful during whole engineering. Is it? Alan Motorshed, Electronic Devices and Circuits by Alan Motorshed. See, it is of a green cover, around 600 pages are there, and it's a green covered book. Is it? If I personally suggest that if possible, then you purchase one copy of that book, Alan Motorshed. So many basic concepts are mentioned in that book. So, and those concepts are really really important. Even some are not included in the syllabus, but still the book is ultimate. This book will help you to study for your competitive exam, like engineering exam, GATE, is it? GATE or any other technical exams. So in that point of view, that book is very much important. Alan Motorshed, is it? So the fourth one, a book, that is Ketan Goel, is strictly related to the design. Look at this. You will find best design methodologies in the fourth book, monograph on electronic design principles. Is it? Even for an example, let me tell you that designing of power supply, it seems very simple, but for designing a professional power supply, or designing or developing a product power supply as a product, this book will definitely help you. If you're thinking about designing of power supply at product level, then this book is really important, because see, designing a power supply is not an easy thing, is it? You need to think about so many small parameters while designing this power supply. You will come to know everything when we start with actual syllabus, is it? Then this fifth book is also really important. It is of Boylsted. Then Milman Halkias, the one of the basic and one of the old one also. Is it? It's really old book by Milman Halkias, and at second year level, you need to have patience to understand the concept from this book, Milman Halkias. Even it is a basic book, is it? The next one I'm suggesting another book from the same author, that is Milman Halkias, Integrated Electronics, is it? And then finally this J.B. Gupta. Now the J.B. Gupta, this book, is it? Look at this. This book will serve all your purposes, is it? It is helpful for ACD1, and even it is helpful for ACD2. Even this book will help you in case of LIC also. In network analysis also, concepts are included in this book. So I can say it's a universal electronic book. Yes, it has to be a handbook, because everything is included in the book. The book has large size. Catson publication, Delhi, they have published this book, Electronic Devices and Circuits, and they have included almost everything related to electronics, is it? So this book is important for ACD1 as well as ACD2, is it? It is listed in the last in our list, because it is not dedicated to SC1, but it is useful in all the subjects. So that's why I kept it last in our list. Is it? So those are a reference book, and all those books are available in our library. Plenty copy of it are available in the library. Number of copies are available. Is it? So this is all about the references, the books that you will use in a complete semester. Now, after this, I think we had a good discussion about the syllabus, about the outcomes, and even what books you need to refer. Is it? We had a discussion about syllabus. Look at this. Then outcomes we have discussed. Then the syllabus, reference book, whatever I have listed, I told you. Now it's time to switch towards the lab session. Look at this. This is what lab session, and the course code for the lab session is different. The course code, if you have observed, look at this course code is ETP202. It is ETP. P stands for practical. So subject will be same, analog circuits and design 1, but this course is a different, it is a practical course for the same subject, is it? So ETP 207 is a practical course for ETL 202. So that's why the last word is lab as included, is it? So you will come to lab once in a week, so you will have only one practical session in a complete week. So that's why it is written 2 hours per week. Your class is divided into 3 or 4 batches, and one batch will come for the practical only once in a week. Then credits are only one. See, 2 hours means 1 credit. You might have aware with that. If number of hours are 4, credits are exactly divided with 1. And in case of lectures, look at this. In case of lectures, this one, total 4 lectures or 4 hours and credits are 4. But for practical session, there is a ratio 1 to 1. 1 hour, 1 credit. Is it? So 4 hours, 4 credit. But in case of practical, whatever hours you spent in lab divided by 2, you will get credits for that course. Is it? Now, evaluation scheme or the examination scheme for this subject has CIE of 50 marks. Is that CIE 50 marks? Means, okay, let me take a reference of previous one. You will understand the examination scheme. CE 50. Okay, CIE is not mentioned here. Otherwise, it may help us. So CIE is 50 marks. It means total marks that you will get is 50 marks. And to see, I'm telling you, CIE, there is an external practical oral. External practical. There is an external practical. External practical exams are there for this subject. It means this ETP 203 hold external practical exam. So whatever practicals you have done throughout the semester, depend on that there will be an exam. But the meaning of external exam means a person not from your institute, is it? Maybe he is from other institute or other university. He will come and conduct your examination. That is called external examination. If I conduct your examination, that will be internal practical examination. But for this ETP 203, it's not me or it's not any other faculty from our institute. Is it? The person who is not belongs to our institute will come and he will conduct your examination. Is that? So this is called external examination, and for this subject you have this external examination. So I hope now you gain some seriousness about, is it? So practical session is really important because it's not about yours or it's not from my side, is it? The another person who is not belongs to our institute will come and conduct the examination, is it? So the total authority belongs to that person, is it? You will be the students, he will be the evaluator. There will not be any role for me in the examination, is it? My job is to conduct the practicals throughout the semester, and whatever I have conducted, whatever you have learned, that evaluation is done by the another person, is it? It is what a quality check, is it? So this is what a checking of quality of students, quality of the syllabus, quality of a practical session. So this subject have practical external practical examination. Like this subject, you will have 3 external practical exams in this semester, is it? For C language, there is external practical. For this ACD, there is an external practical, is it? So you have to face external practical for this, and you should be very serious about the external because it's not belongs to us. Third person will come and evaluate, is it? So now depend upon the syllabus we have studied in classroom, that is with correlation with ETL 202. See, ETL 202 is studied in classroom, and depend on whatever we have studied, we have to go for those practicals. Look at the practical list now. This is list of experiment. See, we have total 16 experiments. Out of the 16, 10 to 12 experiments we have to perform in lab. 10 to 16, sorry, 10 to 12 only. Is it? So now it's our business. It's you and me who supposed to decide those 12 experiments. The first experiment is mandatory study of ratings of electronic components and lab equipments. It means before starting with the next experiment list, what is my motto? My motto is you should be very much clear about the handling of lab equipments, and you should be very much aware with the components that you supposed to use in the practicals. That, for example, you are using BJT, you must know that yes, it is a BJT. You must know yes, it has 3 terminals. What are those? Yes, this is called base, maybe this is emitter, maybe this is collector. If it is a diode, you should understand, yes, you firmly should say that yes, it is a diode, this is cathode, this is anode. Is it? In first year engineering, you have a lab for basic electronics. There you might have seen all those components like resistors, capacitors, transformers, transistors, diode. You have seen those, right? So the knowledge of those components is very essential. It is necessary and it is mandatory also. Because see, one should not say that one should not pick up a resistor and say yes, it is a diode. No. So that's why the understanding or the knowledge of that electronic component is very much important. And as if I want to perform experiment and I want to check the results on some lab equipments like CRO, maybe I'm using function generator, maybe I'm using power supply. So you should be good in handling those equipments. If it is CRO, you should be able to take measurement using CRO. So how to take those measurements, that we will study in this experiment. How to use multimeter, how to use a breadboard, how to use CRO, how to use a function generator, what's the job of function generator, what is the maximum voltage I'm getting from the power supply. You should know everything about that. So first experiment, that is study of ratings of electronic component, it's all related to awareness of our lab. Is it? So henceforth, we will not say that awareness of our lab. No, it's my lab. Is that? You should say it's my lab. So whatever is there, it is for your use only. Is it? Those equipments, those components, we kept everything for you. Is it? So you should be good in that. You should know each and everything from the lab. Any equipment you should be able to handle. So that is why purposefully we are putting this as a first experiment. Is it? Now, as I hope it is clear why the first experiment is related to components and lab equipments. Is it? You must be very clear. Is it? You should be well aware with what is there in lab, how to use them, what are the components. So even if you are doing some mini project and you need some components, you go to the market and you should be able to purchase that component with a correct ratings. That is important. Otherwise, you want a transformer and you don't know how to purchase transformer, what to tell the shopkeeper whether I want transformer. Again, he will ask the question about ratings and you are not aware with the ratings. That should not happen. So you should know everything about the component and lab equipments. Now, second experiment, look at this. Second as well as third as well as fourth are related to rectifiers. That is what your first chapter. Design, analysis of half wave, then center tap and the bridge rectifier. So second, third and fourth is related to your rectifier. Look at the fifth, sixth and 7, 8. Those 4 are related to regulator, which is of your second chapter. Look at this. At the first stage of your second year, we are focusing more and more on power supply, because for every electronic circuit, the heart is its power supply. If power supply damages, your circuit will never work. Every electronic circuit needs a small DC power supply. Is it? So you should be able to build, design, develop that power supply. With that intention, we are focusing more on power supply in this first semester. From second semester onwards, you will face so many circuits. Is it? There we don't need to understand the power supply, because already the things are done. You can easily develop power supply, connect the power supply to the circuit whatever you designed in second semester, isn't it? Now look at this. Even the ninth chapter is also related to IC. The ninth chapter is also related to IC regulators. And now 10th onwards, look at this. Now those are related to amplifiers. Like this, amplifiers, it means it is your third, fourth, fifth, 3, 4, 5 and even 6, 4 chapters. So this is what your experiment list. 4 chapters has an experiment list from 10 to 16, and first 8 or 9 experiments are related to your first 2 chapters. Is it? As I told you, we are focusing more on power supplies as a most important thing. Is it? Whenever any electronic circuit get damaged, and if you want to troubleshoot it, is it, what you will check first? You will check whether the circuit is getting power, then we'll start analysis. Is it? To check whether the circuit is getting power, first we need to get into the power supply. Is it? So if there is a problem with the power supply, you should be able to troubleshoot. You should be able to handle that problem and repair the power supply first. Right? So this is all about the ETP 207. Right? Now, as we are done with your subject, now we have to start the actual subject. Let us start with your actual syllabus. Actual syllabus will include first chapter as unregulated power supply. The unregulated power supply, it includes the rectifiers and the filters. Now the rectifier is a circuit which converts AC waveform into DC, or AC voltage into DC voltage. But before starting with this rectifier circuit, immediately we first need to think about what components I'm using in the rectifiers. Is it? So what components? See, before starting with any circuit, first you think about which component I'm using in that circuit. Is it? So immediately, as you thought for that, I'm not going to start the rectifier chapter immediately. Is it? I said we are going to start because I want to tell you that important thing. For any electronic circuit, if you want to analyze the circuit, first you need to understand what components I'm using in that circuit. If it is a rectifier, which is well known to us, you have studied in first year also, we know that diodes are used in the rectifier. Diodes are used. So if I'm using diode in the rectifier, first thing that must be clear is diode. Another component I'm using in the rectifier is transformer. So it means first I need to be very clear about the transformer. Is it? So what we'll do, we'll start this chapter unregulated power supply in next lecture, and before starting this chapter we will understand the components. We will have a review of diode theory, we will have a review of transformer. Is it? So well done then. As a first lecture, I think that much is sufficient, and from next lecture definitely we are going to start with the first unit from your syllabus, that is unregulated power supply. Is it? As it's a lockdown period, hope you people are staying at home. So enjoy this video lecture series for SCD1, and if you have any problem, any small doubt, do not hesitate. Feel free to ask any small doubt. Is it? So thank you very much. From next lecture we will start with your first chapter.